In March 2020, the world's airliners stopped flying. Rolls-Royce, the British company that builds the engines on every Airbus A350 in the sky, saw its revenue collapse faster than the airlines themselves. They raised £2 billion in an emergency rights issue. They cut 9,000 jobs. The share price fell over 80%. Not because anyone canceled their engine orders, because the engines they had already delivered were not moving. And in Rolls-Royce's strange business, an engine that does not fly does not get paid for. When most companies sell something complicated, a car, a building, or a piece of industrial equipment, they sell it once. The buyer takes the risk from there. The maintenance, the breakdowns, the cost of keeping it working, that is the deal. But Rolls-Royce decided 60 years ago to sell jet engines in a completely different way. Rolls-Royce, the third largest commercial aero engine maker in the world, does not really sell jet engines. They rent them by the hour. When an airline buys an Airbus A350, the engines slung under the wings are technically the airline's property. But for the next 25 to 30 years, almost everything that matters about those engines belongs to Rolls-Royce. The maintenance, the performance risk, the cost of every shop visit. All of it transfers to the engine maker in exchange for a fixed dollar fee paid for every hour those engines are in flight. It is one of the strangest arrangements in modern industry. A Rolls-Royce engine is not a product the airline owns. It is a 25-year subscription where the airline supplies the airframe and Rolls-Royce keeps the metal alive. To understand why this model exists and why it almost killed the company, in 2020, we have to start with engineering. The Trent family of engines, which power the A350, the 787, the A380, and most modern wide-body jets, are built around something most engineers consider unnecessarily complicated, a three-shaft architecture. In a typical jet engine, the kind GE and Pratt & Whitney build, there are two concentric spinning shafts. A low-pressure shaft connecting the fan and the rear turbine, a high-pressure shaft connecting the compressor and the front turbine. Two shafts, two speeds. A Trent has three. The fan, the intermediate compressor, and the high-pressure compressor each spin on an independent shaft at their own optimal speed. It is more efficient. Every component runs exactly where it wants to, and it is staggeringly more complex. Intuitively, you would think more shafts means more failure points, more maintenance, more cost, and you would be right. But Rolls-Royce made that complexity work for them in a way no other engine maker did. The Trent XWB engine, the one that powers the A350, has a 3-meter fan with 22 titanium blades. It produces between 84,000 and 97,000 pounds of thrust. Rolls-Royce describes it as the most efficient large aero engine in service, with 25% less fuel burn than the engines it replaced. 3 shafts. The competition has 2. That detail will turn out to matter enormously. In 1962, a British engine maker called Bristol Siddeley had a problem. Their Viper turbojet, originally built as a disposable engine for target drones, kept needing maintenance. So Bristol Siddeley invented a contract that did not exist before in aviation. They told operators of the de Havilland 125 business jet, "Do not pay us when the engine breaks. Pay us a fixed amount for every hour the engine flies. We will handle everything else." They called it power by the hour. When Rolls-Royce acquired Bristol Siddeley in 1966, they inherited the contract. Over the next 4 decades, they industrialized it. They renamed it Total Care for the Trent family and built the entire commercial aerospace business around it. The terms are simple. The airline pays a dollar amount per engine flying hour per hour. In return, Rolls-Royce takes responsibility for performance, scheduled maintenance, unscheduled repairs, parts replacement, and the cost of every shop visit for the engine's entire service life. The airline gets a predictable cost of ownership. Rolls-Royce gets a 25-year revenue stream tied to one variable: how often the planes fly. What makes this model possible and what makes it so dangerous is buried in the engineering of the engine itself. Modern jet engines operate at temperatures that should be physically impossible. The turbine inlet temperature inside a Trent, where burning fuel meets the first turbine stage, runs between 1,500 and 1,700 degrees Celsius. That is hundreds of degrees above the melting point of the nickel superalloy the turbine blades are made from. The blades only survive because they are hollow. Cooling air is bled from the compressor and forced through internal channels, escaping through tiny pinholes on the blade surface. A film of cooler air keeps the metal alive. Every blade is also coated in ceramic thermal barrier layers, a coating about as thick as a sheet of paper that does most of the heat shielding. This level of materials engineering is impossible to maintain casually. You cannot teach a third-party shop to do it cheaply. The tooling is bespoke. The training takes years. The supply chain for genuine parts runs through Rolls-Royce. And then there is the data. Every Trent engine in flight transmits real-time information by satellite to Rolls-Royce's operations center in Derby, England. 170 engineers monitor thousands of engines around the world, 24 hours a day. This engineering monopoly is what lets Rolls-Royce dominate the aftermarket, the hidden majority of their business. In 2023, Rolls-Royce Civil Aerospace generated around £4.6 billion in aftermarket revenue. Of that, about 72% came from long-term service agreements like TotalCare. The new engine sale happens once. The maintenance contract runs for 25 to 30 years. Across the engine's life, services dwarf the original product. The aftermarket is the business. The engine sale is just the entry ticket. The Trent fleet is now overwhelmingly locked in. By the company's own director of services, around 90% of installed Trent engines are covered by TotalCare. 100% of existing customers re-elect the service for their next aircraft order. In early 2024, Rolls-Royce had 248 active long-term service contracts covering a fleet of roughly 4,000 large engines. That is a quarter of a century of guaranteed revenue, indexed to one variable, flight hours. The model only fails if airlines stop flying. Until 2020, that was a theoretical concern. And here is where it gets financially insane. In 2016, on a fleet of brand new 787 Dreamliners operated by All Nippon Airways, Rolls-Royce engineers found something unexpected. The intermediate pressure turbine blades in the Trent 1000 engines, a different Trent variant powering the Dreamliner, were corroding. Up to 500 engines were affected. At the peak in 2019, 44 wide-body aircraft sat parked on tarmacs around the world, waiting for replacement blades. The U.S. Federal Aviation Administration cut the 787's overwater operating range from 330 minutes to 140 minutes, gutting the aircraft's selling point. Under TotalCare, every grounded Trent 1000 was Rolls-Royce's problem to fix, and Rolls-Royce's bill to pay. From 2017 to 2023, the company took £2.4 billion in charges related to Trent 1000 durability fixes. And then in March 2020, the entire commercial aviation industry stopped. Wide-body flight hours, Rolls-Royce's revenue lifeblood, fell by roughly 3/4 in a matter of weeks. Every TotalCare contract Rolls-Royce had signed continued to exist. None of them paid. The model that for 60 years had transferred maintenance risk from airlines to Rolls-Royce was now transferring an unprecedented airline crisis directly into Rolls-Royce's accounts. In October 2020, the company raised £2 billion in an emergency rights issue. They added a £1 billion bond and a £1 billion bank loan, $5 billion in total liquidity. They announced 9,000 job cuts. The share price fell from over 700 pence in early 2020 to below 100 pence by autumn. And then something almost nobody fully predicted happened. Every TotalCare contract Rolls-Royce had signed did not disappear when the planes were grounded. It paused. Every parked 787 and A350 in the desert in 2020 was a deferred Rolls-Royce invoice, not a canceled one. When flight hours came back slowly, then all at once, they came back against contracts already signed, on fleets Rolls-Royce had spent decades locking in. In 2024, the company reported an underlying operating profit of £2.5 billion. In 2025, £3.5 billion. Civil aerospace operating margin reached 20%. The share price passed £11 by mid-2025, a roughly tenfold recovery from the COVID low. The company began buying back £1 billion of its own stock. same model, different flight hours. So the real story of Rolls-Royce is not that they make jet engines. It is that they figured out, before anyone else, that the engine is not the product. The flight hour is the product. 60 years ago, Bristol Siddeley solved a maintenance problem on a small business jet by inverting the contract. Charge per flying hour, take the risk, keep the relationship. Rolls-Royce inherited that idea, scaled it across the most complex turbofan engineering on the planet, and built a business where their interests and the airline's interests are almost perfectly aligned. Both sides win when the engines fly. The catch, the thing nobody fully appreciated until it actually happened, is what happens when the engines do not fly. The pandemic answered that question in 2020. The recovery answered it again by 2025. The next time you board an A350, look out the window at the engine. The airline owns the turbine. But Rolls-Royce, very quietly, owns the next quarter century of every revolution it makes. Subscribe if you want more on the hidden economics that actually run modern aviation.